Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I am James, and this is the finale of the Georgia series. It's been about a 100-year time skip. I think we had last left off around 1680. So it has been a good bit of time since the last episode. I didn't really conquer much. I cleaned up this area. I gave some territory to my vassal, Heilig Volhilna, and then I conquered the rest of Greece. And a little bit of Cairo, Egypt. Grabbed a couple provinces over here. Not a whole lot, but we were able to grab that trade nevertheless. So we ended up making, this isn't accurate, about 650 ducats. This is because of the public services and toll loss. For some reason it's going down. Normally that's around 230-ish, so we should be making around 650. You know, it varies. It's plus or minus 25 ducats, so around 650. Give or take a little bit. We make 165 from taxation, 260 from production, and 740 from trade. I think that's a good bit of money. Considering we only got the India trade, we didn't do anything with China. I decided not to conquer any of this stuff because that flows into the East African node. And that only flows to South Africa, which comes up this way and ends up here. So I felt like that would have been either a whole lot of effort to conquer this stuff, all of Africa, or would have just been worthless because it would have got stuck here. So I pretty much only went for the stuff that flows into either the Strait of Hormuz or the Gulf of Aden, which is a good bit of money. So we were able to make about 800 ducats. 750 ducats, around there. Which I think is a good bit of money considering we didn't get any of the North or South American trade as well. Alright, we ended up with 5,110 development as well, which puts us in first because we have embraced all of the institutions. We have every single one of them. All of them are embraced, including meritocracy, which pretty much the entire world has now because of us. We were the gateway between China and Europe. So you're welcome, Europe. That puts us at first. Our own development, 5,110, and half of our subjects' development, 619. Gives us 5,729. Zhao, which is Ming, pretty much. They don't have many factories or the Enlightenment, so their 9,147 development becomes 5,200. So we are the #1 great power in the world. Speaking of the world, here's not a huge difference from where we last left off. The only thing is the HRA did dissolve itself, so that looks more like a multiplayer game than an actual AI-controlled game. There's a giant Dortmund, a giant Saxony, a giant Pomerania. They are the pretty much the powers in the HRE. What's left of it, at least. In terms of individual provinces, go over to the provinces and look at them all. So our capital, Trapezunta, has 140 development. It makes 218 ducats a year, and there's about 3,000 ducats just sitting in there. Silk, 149 urban production skill, that doesn't increase. Had a copper mine. there are 652,000 urban pops. A epidemic, whatever, a plague did sweep through a couple years ago, so it did take out a decent bit of urban pops. It was actually severe to moderate in most of my provinces. I think we're mostly recovered from that, though. There's a level 3 major center of production, more on that later, and a dominant center of trade, largest city on the continent, continental art and intellectual center, capital bonus rank 4. These are all the buildings. Not as much as I could have built, but I kind of stopped. Started building elsewhere. I think our second highest development province is Constantinople. It has a regional art and intellectual center, because it can't have the topmost, because Trapezuta has that. 551,000 urban pops. Dominant center of trade, level 3 major center of production, largest city on the subcontinent, farming efficiency 61%, if you're interested in that. Capital bonus rank 1, it makes 184 ducats, so almost as much as our capital makes. And those are the buildings. So there is a level 3 center of production in my capital because there's a level 4 center of production in this province, Sinop. I think I built up my surrounding provinces around my capital a little bit too much because it actually transferred the dominant center of production from my capital to this province, which I think is pretty funny. In this province, it has 101 development. This is pretty much, a lot of the development in this province was made by our capital pretty much just investing in it. So our capital pretty much undid themselves by investing so much in here, and then they became a dominant, they overtook them. So yeah, there's 270,000 urban pops here. Level 2 important center of trade, level 4 dominant center of production. It makes 128 ducats a year, and it has a regional art and intellectual center and farming efficiency 80%. 139 urban production skill. And those are the buildings. Over the last 50 years, I put a lot of money into these provinces because it overlaps. This sweet spot right here, these 3, 5, 7, 8 or so provinces right here are both in my capital's region and in the Aegean trade node. So I figured it would be best to pour some money into these provinces. They didn't really get that huge. They do have a lot of urban gravity, but the urban population growth slowed down. Like there's 137,000 urban gravity in this province, but only 48,000 urban pops because of the food is constrained. So I also started building canals. This province is probably the best one. And Guri. 67% farming efficiency. It has 155,000 urban pops with a level 2 center of trade and production. Got a foreign student there, level 1 arts and intellectual center. Making 66 ducats a year. I don't think any of those other provinces are really impressive by any means. This province or capital also built up, but it only has 107,000 urban pop, level 2 center of production, level 1 center of trade. Let's see, Halkidiki. Didn't really put that much investment into that province, or Ionia. A lot of these provinces are kind of like mid-range provinces. Konya, Karaman. Konya actually overtook Karaman. I didn't really intend that. I wanted Karaman to be the best one, but Konya I think because they have a mine complex there, they produce salt, so this was able to overtake Karaman. This province has 229,000 urban pops, level 2 centers of trade and production, produces silk, largest regional city, level 1 arts and intellectual center with that mine, 64% farming efficiency. They make, where is it? They make 80 ducats a year. Karaman, pretty much a lesser Konya. Toroslar was a regional capital. Not very impressive though, just level 1 center of production. Level 3 center of trade. Largest regional city with 244,000 urban pops. Level 1 capital bonus. They did make 91 ducats. Those are the buildings in that province. Let's see, Kartli was another regional capital. Level 3 center of production and trade. Made 102 ducats a year, 267,000 urban pops. Some silk there. Good bit of farming efficiency, 60%. Level 1 art and intellectual center. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. So Tabriz has a largest city on the continent. Trapezunta has the largest city on the continent, and for a brief moment there, I think for like a decade, Constantinople was also the largest city on the subcontinent. So I think the plague kind of devastated Constantinople and knocked them down from the largest city on the continent to the largest city on the subcontinent. So for a while there, I actually had 3 largest cities on the continent: Constantinople, Trapezunta, and Tabriz. Tabriz also has a dominant center of trade, level 2 center of production, continental arts and intellectual center. They make 86 ducats and 369,000 urban pops. 74 total development. These are the buildings. Baghdad is the next regional capital. 111 developments, mostly because of the 62 rural development from... Actually, there's only 220,000 rural pops. 220,000 rural pops, 293,000 urban pops. It's a lot of urban gravity, though, 460,000. Level 2 regional arts and intellectual center. Level 3 center of production. Largest city on the subcontinent. There we go. Level 4 dominant center of trade. They make 106 ducats and 293,000. I think I already went over that, actually. 293,000 urban pops. Here are the buildings. You know what? I did, in like the last 20 years, I started spamming warehouses and marketplaces. So pretty much every province in my country has a marketplace and warehouse. Probably should have put some of those ducats into more of these buildings, but I think a lot of them were constrained by food, although me spamming buildings probably didn't help that. Towards the end of the game, you kind of just don't really have a lot of provinces to put money in, so I just start spamming. How helpful that is, it's up for debate. Probably not really helpful at all, but I like the idea of having buildings in all of my provinces. Kiev was another regional capital. Didn't put a whole lot of development in here, but it did have a level 1 center of production, level 1 art center, largest regional city, level 3 major center of trade, with 150,000 urban pops, and they make 58 ducats. Here's the buildings here. Noticing a lot of these provinces don't have art corporations. Not that the art power would do much, because you can't really go up to level 3 arts and intellectual center, because there can only be one of those on the continents. Bessarabia was another regional capital. Their largest regional city, level 3 center of trade, level 2 center of production, level 2 art center. 178,000 urban pops, and they make 70 ducats a year. Tulsea was another regional capital, but I really didn't put anything into this province. 17 ducats they make. Largest regional city, level 2 center of trade, level 1 center of production, level 1 art center. Decent farming efficiency, though. Let's see. Any other provinces? Not really that one. Not really that one. Probably Calicut. Calicut, level 4 center of trade. Level 2 center of production. There's a lot of religious minorities in this province. They are the largest city on the continent, so technically I do have 3 large cities on the continent. Just not the 3 that I had before. They make 157 ducats a year, and there are 374,000 urban pops in this province. These are the buildings. Not a whole lot of craftsman district either. Probably should have built those buildings. I feel like production buildings don't really do a whole lot towards the end of your campaign, so that's why I didn't build those. Go to the development map mode to check out any other provinces I might have missed. Anything above like 70, I'll look at. This province almost got to it because of 300,000 rural pops. Basra, no. I just conquered Calicut. Or no, Calcutta. This is Calcutta, that's Calicut. It's a little bit confusing. This province would have been a good province to build up because there's 473,000 rural pops, but I just conquered it, so I think that's it with my provinces. I think I'll look at the world's provinces now. Great Britain. Let's get back to that development. London has 126 development with 653,000 urban pops. It's a pretty good province. I think they took it from Constantinople. They have what, 653? Constantinople has, I think, 500 something. Yeah, 551. I'm surprised Paris doesn't have that. I think Paris has that for a long time. Paris only has 85 development, 331,000 urban pops, only 449,000 urban gravity, so they wouldn't have taken that. I'll just briefly go over these provinces. Castile doesn't really have anything. Genoa, 89 in Liguria. Dominant center of trade, level 2 center of production. London makes, how much? 142 ducats. Yeah, it's not bad. London's probably, in terms of Europe, the second best province behind my capital. Oh yeah, there's Cairo. They're only 43 development, though. Palermo, 122 development. Dominant center of production and level 3 center of trade. Only 355,000 urban pops, though. I think a lot of their development comes from their rural pops, which are 192,000. 75% farming efficiency, that's pretty good. I think that's it, really. For at least the great cities. Oh, nope. Picardy has 106 developments. 900,000 rural pops in this province. They have 106 development. Pretty much all of it is from their rural pops. They make 89 ducats from exporting food, which is a lot. That's the same thing in this province over here. 1.3 million. All right, it's a lot. They make... Man, this province could use a canal. If they put like a level 2 canal here, oh man, it would have been so good. They would make so much more money. That, and there's also no... There's no rural infrastructure in this province. They got some rural infrastructure and a couple canals in this province. It would be a powerhouse. China, of course. You know, there's like 1 billion provinces over here that have high development. Probably not going to go over those. You know, it's China. We'll try and find the most developed province in the world, which I imagine is in China. 197 actually in Garjat. 138 there. $172. What was that in China? 195. And this one is 197. All right, so this is the most developed province in the world, and that is because of 184 rural development. Was there like 2 million? 1.4 million rural pops in this province, and this one actually has decent farming efficiency. So they export 181 ducats worth of food. You see, France, you could have had that. See, this province, just look at it briefly. This also has 192 rural development. So this is also because of rural pops, but it only has 1.16 million pops. But even better farming efficiency than the other province. That's probably where that development comes from. They export 198 ducats worth of food. Yep, so that is the provinces of the world. In terms of income, we have the most income in the world with 1,169 income, which is almost double China, who only has 618. They also lose, apparently, 36 ducats to their vassals, which will hurt you. Everybody else just pales. We make 10 times the amount that France makes. It's a lot. We make, what is that? Almost 6 times the amount Great Britain makes. Granted, we have a ton more development than them as well, but we only have like 2.5 times the development of... No, that's almost 3 times the development of Great Britain. 3 times the development, but was that 6 times the income? In terms of armies, Great Britain, France, and China have higher armies than us. They're trying to compensate for something. See, I don't need a large army, because I'm not trying to compensate. In terms of tech, we actually got on par with tech. We were a couple admin techs away. We're 1 mil tech, 1 dip tech, and 3 admin techs behind being ahead of time. I think at one point we were like 10 admin techs behind, so we did get there. Mostly because of the abundant silk, which gives admin tech cost minus 10%, and also the neighbor bonus and time bonus that we got. We were getting like 200 admin cost techs. It's pretty great. once we embraced all those institutions, it was like 200 admin for a tech. So we had abundant silk and luxury cloth, some luxury cloth. The burghers ended up making 3,313 ducats a year. The greater nobles and lesser nobles combined 19%. What's that influence? So they were pretty much hampered. The greater nobles made 800 ducats. The lesser nobles made 800 ducats. We did have 4 vassals: Maratha, Damascus, Heilig Volhilna, and Zeta. They're all in the profit by a good amount, I'd say. So they're pretty much all developing their provinces. I did put some cash into Heilig Volhilna and Zeta. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I really only wanted to conquer this area, and I ended up conquering this and this. So it was supposed to be like semi-tall, like I was just going to conquer this area and then stop, but then I ended up conquering this and this. So it might not look like a lot, but it's actually more than I wanted to conquer. So yeah, that is this campaign. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to move on to 2.51. I'm finally making that switch. So I hope to see you there, and have a great day. I'll do a time-lapse video as well after this one. So technically this isn't the last episode, although time-lapse videos probably not, not included. So technically this is the last video. Anyway, thank you for watching. Goodbye.